What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Now, I just celebrated a milestone birthday. You can probably see the numbers there from my birthday cards. On April 17th, I turned 40 years old. And today I want to talk about 3 things that I wish I would have done with my money when I was in my 20s. All right, so you got to forgive me. My birthday was just yesterday and I'm having a hard time saying 40, like getting comfortable with that 40 number. Every time I say it, it sounds crazy. Like 40? What? Oh, let me show you my birthday cake. Of course, since I'm all about the money, I got this real money right there. Surprise with a quarantine cake for my birthday. And as I reached the milestone, I started to think, what are 3 things that I wish that I would have done with my money, or 3 things that I wish I could have told my younger self now that I'm 40 to do in her early 20s. And one of the things that I wish I would have done was save more money. And it's one of those things that hindsight, when I was working and going to college, I was bartending and waitressing, and I was making, like some nights $300, $600, $1,200 a night. And I did not save $1. And I didn't save it because I knew, well, I can spend it because tomorrow I'm going to go back and I'm going to make another $1,000, or I'm going to make another $500. And to think, being that young and not having that many financial responsibilities, YOLO, right? Like I lived like there was no tomorrow. And I can't even think, like, I wasn't flashy. I wasn't really buying a lot of stuff, but I was just blowing it, spending it on whatever I want, like going on trips, which are experiences, obviously. So those were nice. Eating out all the time, just really spending with no regard because I knew that I was going to make that money back. So had I taken some of my own advice back then, which is what I now teach to my clients, is to save at least 10%, and if you can, on a good day, 20% or more of your income. Man, all of that cash that I made back then, I would be sitting pretty nice now had I saved more money. So I wish in my early 20s that I would have saved more money. The second thing that I wish I would have done in my 20s was I wish I would have invested in more real estate. I did buy a house in my 20s, but I should have bought more. I went to college in DC at a time before gentrification, where DC, Baltimore were really hot real estate markets to get into. And I've seen some of the areas that, I rented back then are now worth millions of dollars. So I wish I would have I was interested in real estate back then. I just thought it was something that I would do when I was older. I waited until I did graduate from college before I bought something, but I wish now that I would have bought even more, especially with, who knew that there was going to be Airbnb like there is now. But had I bought more real estate, I would have, rented it out. I would have flipped a lot of properties. I probably would have got into renovation, and I would have a lot more money now to this day. And obviously, like I said, a lot of these things are hindsight. My little brother, I'm 20 years older than him. So right now I'm telling him, he's like, I want to save my money and buy a brand new Camaro. And I'm like, no, if I were you, I would buy some real estate. And he's looking at me like, okay, you're 40, but I'm 20 years old. Like, I want a brand new car. So these are things that, just depending on who you are and the type of person that you are, sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes, and sometimes you just got to learn it and live it yourself. And then you get my age or older and look back and think of the things that you wish that you would have done with your money. So hopefully some of these tips, if you're younger or you're never too old to start, once you know the information and kind of get the tips and some of the gang that can put you in better places. And I wish I would have invested in stocks. I was in college right when the internet was kind of becoming a thing. I remember when eBay came out and Yahoo and all these things that, Apple, the stock, I don't even know what the stock was back then. But sometimes I do read articles that say, if you would have invested $1,000 in Apple 15 years ago or 20 years ago, you now have $500,000. So That's crazy to think about. So I wish I would have taken a little more interest in investing and learning how to invest and purchasing stocks and what that looked like. It was something that I thought you needed a lot of money to do, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I just thought that it would be something that was unnecessary for me to try to do at that time. It was something that I didn't really have that much knowledge about, so I didn't really let it put me in a place where I challenged myself to learn more, like we had the internet, so there were people that I knew who did own stocks, so I could have talked to them and could have gotten the knowledge and the information and put some of that cash that I was just spending and blowing through into some stocks. So those are some of the things looking back. I don't regret any of the things that I've done or any ways that I've spent my money. I've learned a lot along the way, but looking back and now in a place where for the past 10 years I've been teaching people about money, and I have clients as a financial coach that I guide and try to put them in the right place and on the right path financially. I definitely implement some of those things that I wish I would have learned. I help save. That's key. You gotta save. Doesn't matter how much money you make, it matters how much money you keep. When I was making $1,200 a night, $800 a night, when the club shut down, and I was working in a club that we saw it was on any given night, we'd have professional athletes and rappers and singers come in, and I never thought that kind of money would run out. And when the club got shut down, there was no more money like that to be made. I almost had to start all over. So I took that for granted and I didn't save. So now one of the biggest things I know, I made a lot of money back then, but it didn't matter how much I made. It mattered how much I kept at the end of the day. So I am all about saving, all about learning what you don't know. Not just letting that, I don't know, I've never heard of it, nobody that I know does it, or being afraid to really get that information hold you back. So those are 3 tips that I wish that I would have learned in my 20s. If you're older than 20, 30, 40, whatever you are, tell me in the comments below some of the things that you wish that you now know about money that you wish you would have known, or that you wish you would have done with your money 10, 15, 20 years ago. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram or Facebook, somewhere, Twitter. Not really Twitter, because I don't even really use Twitter like that, but I do be on the gram. So reach out if you have any questions. I look forward to talking to you guys.